Chris McKinnon, WCW.
I actually did the research. It was 6.
It was 6.
Six
The
lives.
percentage point difference in Trump and Biden. That's 6 or 9, depending.
It's a big 6.
Chris McKinnon, WCW wasting money. Yet other departments losing money and WCW getting blamed for all losses. So this is something I found weird in the he's making reference, of course, to the Who Killed WCW documentary, if you're listening to this 10 years after recording. Something that kept coming up, which I found strange, was how they were talking about the distribution of the funds at the network, talking just about Turner's operation. Now, WCW, let's let no one forget, Dungeon of Doom, where we were coming out of when they decided to offer money to Kevin and Scott, and then the litany of other people that followed. You think that money was coming from the coffers that the Dungeon of Doom pay-per-views were hauling in at the time, talking like that mid-90s WCW, before NWO, before these guys came over? The money for these contracts was coming from the successful parts of the network. And that's how it works. Sometimes, Peter gets robbed to pay Paul because it's an investment in the whole. So I always found that weird when in those documentaries they were counting like how much money was coming from the Turner Home Network and versus the TNT and where them. It's one network. Friends kept NBC afloat with Seinfeld for how many years? It allowed them to produce those poor shows that could have been the next hit. That's how it works. Am I wrong? We should disagree. Can you just try and disagree with me?
Yeah, you know what? I completely disagree with you on that.
You're just making it all about yourself.
Well, I'm really not listening. I'm just waiting for so I can throw
so you could disagree.
Yeah, my point of view in, which I've been talking about, the Titanic. What was Turner? What did Turner trade at before they merged with Time Warner? Wonder what their stock. Wonder what their stock price was in '96.
Were they even public? When did they go public?
I don't know.
Did the Time Warner and AOL purchase make them pull them into the market? I don't know. Steve will look that up. But
hold on. When did Turner go public?
Well, in '96, the beginning of '96, Time Warner's stock price was $37.50. That's Time Warner.
Yeah, it says here. It says Turner, based in Atlanta, Georgia, it merged with Time Warner. Who did Turner leave his paintings to? I didn't realize he was dead.
It was a $7.5 billion merger. And that was October 10th. So from the beginning, it wasn't much movement. 37.50 to 41.37 over the course of that year. That includes the merger. That's Time Warner stock.
Time Warner stock was 37.50.
At the start of the year, and then in October after the merger, it was 41.37. So it was like a.
And I want to think at one point it was like it went over 50.
Right.
And then when it merged with AOL, I think it was around 70s.
Yeah. Well. Everyone understands why Turner did. I mean, it was a good move for Turner, but not necessarily.
But he was never he never divested. He was all in everything, and then so when Time Warner, when this went up, all his assets went up, and then.
So there's your peak. Was that 157? So that was 3 years later. 176. So that was 3 years later. But you see, the rise would have been. Where does that start to pick up there, Steve? We're looking at a graph, and this is this Turner stock? Who stock is it? No, this is AOL. The fuck am I looking at here? All right, so this is AOL Time Warner. Okay, so so 96. Yeah, I mean that's when 96, 97 it looks like is when that real liftoff happens. 98 turn of 97.
That has to be the time. That has to be when they go AOL.
97, 98. Yeah.
Because it goes all the way, and then you see the .com crash right there.
Yeah, early 2000s, 2000.
$22.
22. Yeah.
So from 178, 180 to $22.
Yeah. Less than 2 years. And some of those drops are precipitous. I mean,
176 to $22.
Yeah.
And you want to know what killed WCW?
That graph should just be the logo for the show.
That's it. Why can't people just? Why does everybody have to be a mark? Why can't you just fucking look at the financials of fucking shit? I mean, that's. I have money that I got to put in something, and my guy's saying, he says, I think we're played out on Berkshire Hathaway. I said, fuck. I said, they're saying that it this year, at this time next year in 2025, that Berkshire Hathaway Class B stock will be worth $470. I think it closed today at $404. So, what are you going to put me in that in a year's time I'm going to make 20% of my money?
So we're just speculating. No one knows, but
all right. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's a conglomerate. It's like I'm just going to put in. I'm just going to keep riding the fucking horse that rode me there.
Yeah, stay on the winning horse.
At this time next year in 2025, that Berkshire Hathaway Class B stock will be worth $470. I think it closed today at $404. So, what are you going to put me in that in a year's time I'm going to make 20% of my money?
So we're just speculating. No one knows, but
at this time next year in 2025, that Berkshire Hathaway Class B stock will be worth $470. I think it closed today at $404. So, what are you going to put me in that in a year's time I'm going to make 20% of my money?
so we're just speculating. No one knows, but